Dieting doesn't work until you do this. And in fact, studies show that over 93% of people who've lost their belly fat gain it all back. And I know you know this. You've tried the keto, the paleo, the intermittent fasting, the calorie counting apps. The names change, but the pattern is exactly the same. But there's a reason for this. And it's not because of what you think. It's because these methods are all built on restriction. And it's forcing your body instead of working with it. And nobody's gonna tell you this. Real lasting fat loss doesn't come from restriction. It comes from what I call systemic regulation. This means getting your body's 5 key systems working together so it stops resisting and starts releasing fat. And in this video, I'm gonna reveal the 5 hidden key systems that will silently control your fat loss. And I'm gonna show you how to reset them. By the way, my name is Michael Diamonds. I'm a scientist. I majored in biochemistry and microbiology. I'm a medical doctor, a pro natural bodybuilder, and your coach. Let's break key system number 1 down. Cortisol belly fat. You must regulate your nervous system or dieting won't work. So let me explain. You've probably heard of this cortisol belly fat, and let's break it down. Cortisol, the stress hormone, it's a lifesaver in short bursts. It wakes you up, it sharpens your focus, and it helps you respond quickly when life throws you a curveball. But here's the catch. When your cortisol stays high for too long, it starts working against you. Your metabolism slows down, your hunger cues are scrambled, and your body starts storing more fat, especially around the belly. Now you're asking, why is that happening, Dr. Mike? It's because cortisol directly affects 2 key hunger hormones. Ghrelin, your hunger hormone signal that goes up, and leptin, your fullness signal that goes down. So even if you're eating clean, your hormones might be working against you. And here's the big problem. Most of us are living in a high state of chronic stress. And think about your day. You wake up to an alarm and you're rushing through your morning, checking your emails in the morning, social media, maybe you have the news turned on and there's nothing ever good on there. All those activities are what we call sympathetic nervous system activities. Your fight or flight, and it's running the show. And short bursts are great for your sympathetic nervous system. It's great for performance, even will help you lose stored fat for fuel during activity. But if you're stuck there over time, this is a massive problem. Chronic fight or flight keeps your stress hormones high, your digestion's low, and make your cravings for high energy, high calorie foods, and it puts it into overdrive. It's like your body's always preparing for an emergency. And so this is where we need to get your parasympathetic nervous system work. And this is the complete opposite. It's your rest and digest. And this is where it comes in. It's this mode that supports your digestion, your recovery, and your hormonal balance so metabolism can work efficiently over the long haul. And when you learn how to switch between gears in these 2 systems, instead of living in overdrive, your body becomes much better at using stored fat as fuel. It will regulate your appetite and it will keep your energy steady. And you now are asking, okay, Dr. Mike, what is the fastest way to do this? We need to activate your vagus nerve. And you need to think of your vagus nerve as the highway between your brain and your gut. And when this highway is open, your body gets the message, hey, you are safe now. Your heart rate slows down, your stress hormones drop, and your digestion improves, and your metabolism can go back to business. So here are 4 ways so we can flip the switch to this highway and to be able to reduce this stress. Now, this first one is something I do with all my pro athletes, my actors, the singers, the people who come through Sculpt by Science. And it's amazing for high stress situations. It's called box breathing. So I want you to inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold it again. And I want you to repeat this for 3 to 5 minutes. And when I do this, you'll feel calmer. You will notice that your heart rate slows down. Practice this, and it's such a good way to regulate your stress levels. And research shows that this paced breathing can shift the balance of your nervous system from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic state where we want to be, and this will lower your cortisol levels. Let me know, have you guys ever heard of this box breathing before? And if you've tried it, let me know your experience in the comments. Like, share with us, is this thing real or not? The second thing is cold showers. So hear me out. At the end of your normal shower, turn the water cold for 30 seconds. Now that is gonna be the jolt that's gonna wake you up fast, but here's the twist. It's not the whole body that needs the shock that activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It's targeted cold on your face or neck that does the trick. And I'm sure you guys probably saw the social media clips going around of this morning routine of a gentleman putting his face in ice water. There's actually research backing it. The European Journal of Applied Physiology released a paper in 2010, and it found that short bursts of cold face immersion after exercise significantly boosted parasympathetic activity as measured by heart rate variability. So you guys are probably asking, what is this heart rate variability? This kind of vagus nerve activation helps calm your system, it improves your recovery, and it also supports hormonal balance that makes long-term fat loss so much easier. And I'm gonna talk about HRV in a bit. Now, third thing you can do is humming, gargling, or singing. And I know it sounds odd, but it works because the vibration from your vocal cords stimulate your vagus nerve. This is why people feel so good when they sing, right? Even if you can't, just like me, right? So I like to sit comfortably, I take a deep breath, and maybe I'll hum for 10 seconds, or I'll play a song and I'll rap or I'll sing. And it's simple, and I often feel calmer after playing 2 to 3 songs or just, doing 2 to 3 rounds of this. Now, you guys saw me talk about heart rate variability, and we want to track this. HRV is a tiny measure that measures the variations between your heartbeats. So a higher HRV generally means you're more balanced and recovered. If your HRV is consistently under 40 milliseconds, it may indicate that your body is stuck in a stressed state. So we use tools like the Apple Watch to track it. You could use a Whoop, Aura. Right now we've partnered with a company called Ultra Human, and all our clients get this ring and we can track everything, their steps, their sleep, without them needing to check in. It's amazing. And this is super important. We check HRV to see how stressed our clients are, but also how recovered they are. And that being said, if you are a business owner, you're an executive, you're an entrepreneur, and you want to become a business athlete, you want the physique and the mindset of a pro sports captain, click the first link in the description to apply to work with me and my team of medical doctors, and we'll tell you all about our process. This program is expensive, but don't worry if you don't want to go down that route. All my videos have the information you need. Now, let's move on into system number 2. We need to heal your gut to burn more fat. So we've just spent time talking about the nervous system on one side, but we have to focus on this other system, which is just as important. It is your gut. And your gut isn't just for digesting food. It is home to trillions of microbes, bacteria that live in your gut, and I want you to think of them as tiny workers in this massive factory. And in this factory, you have good workers that keeps things running smoothly, and the bad workers, they cause trouble. They're triggering cravings and they make fat loss so much harder. And the impact they have is huge. A study even shows this. A 2013 study by Washington University in St. Louis and researchers did is they transplanted gut bacteria from obese mice into lean germ-free mice. And guess what happened? The lean mice gained significantly more fat without eating more calories. And it was purely because their new microbes were better at storing energy than burning it. And what's happening to you is that the balance between these good and bad microbes are affecting you. It affects how many calories you absorb from food, how inflamed your body is, how sensitive your cells are to insulin, and what foods you're craving. So now you're asking, how do we get this factory to work in your favor? The answer is simple. You feed the good workers and you starve the bad ones, as bad as that sounds. Now, this is how we feed the good ones. Add fermented foods. Fermented foods supply live beneficial bacteria. And I'm sure you've heard of the word probiotics, and this can boost your microbial diversity. So these are the foods that I want you to add. You can add all of them or even just 1 or 2. Kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, miso, and yogurt that has live cultures. These are all great options. Personally, I love adding a little bit of sauerkraut to my lunch, and it's simple and it becomes one of those go-to sides that I love having. The second thing we can do is feed them prebiotic fibers. Prebiotics are preferred fuel source for beneficial microbes, and I'll explain why. When these microbes digest these fibers, they produce short-chain fatty acids called butyrate. And butyrate helps lower inflammation and makes your body so much more efficient at burning fat. And you can find these prebiotics in everyday foods. So write these down: asparagus, garlic, onions, artichokes, green bananas, oats, legumes, lentils, or chickpeas. And this can be as simple as just roasting a tray of asparagus for dinner, or adding some sauteed onions to your eggs, or adding some oats into your breakfast smoothie. Now that you know how to feed the good ones, we need to know what to do to starve the bad ones. Cut back on ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods aren't just junk food. They're products that have been heavily altered from their natural form. And they're often made with refined starches, they have added sugars and lower quality oils, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives. If a label lists more than 5 to 10 ingredients, especially the ones you wouldn't cook with at home, it's probably ultra processed. And these foods disrupt your gut flora by starving the beneficial bacteria and overfeeding the less helpful strains, which can quickly reduce the diversity and increase inflammation. And when your gut is balanced, your digestion improves, the cravings settle, the inflammation drops, and your metabolism works more efficiently. This is another piece of systemic regulation, making sure that your tiny workers in your gut are equipped and your body is in a state of fat loss to actually make it happen. Now, system number 3 is equally as important. It's called the craving control code. So let's be real. You don't wake up in the morning and you're craving broccoli. Your craving is salty, sweet, crunchy, comforting stuff like the cookies, the pizza, the chocolate. And that's not a character flaw on your end. It's brain chemistry. Every time you eat a hyper-processed food, your brain gets a dopamine spike. Dopamine is your brain's reward signal. It says to you, that felt good and do it again. And the more often you eat those foods, the stronger those patterns become. And that's why cravings can feel so automatic. It's the same reason why when you open a pack of chips, let's be honest, you never stop at just one. But this is the good news. Your brain is plastic. It's malleable. It means it can change. So with the right approach, you can actually rewire it to crave healthier foods. So here's how to start. We want to make healthier meals, rewarding your brain to stick to healthy so it doesn't feel like a punishment. And I'll show you how to do that. You have to make your nutrient-dense foods taste really good. So let me show you how to do that. Use low sodium seasonings like sugar-free sauces, fresh herbs and spices, to make them genuinely more enjoyable. So example, I love adding G. Hughes barbecue sauce and it's sugar-free on my grilled chicken. I also love adding this low sodium taco seasoning on my lean beef or on my ground beef. And I like having roasted veggies with rosemary and thyme. And your brain starts pairing these healthier foods that taste good and starts shifting this craving loop to the healthier stuff. The second thing I want you to do is to eat in a calm environment and slow down. This is massive. If you're eating at your desk or you're scrolling TikTok or with the TV blasting, your brain doesn't fully register the meal. And this is the science here. Your vagus nerve, that highway between your brain and your gut, it needs about 20 minutes to send a strong satiety signal. When you eat slowly without any distractions, you're strengthening the pathway that registers fullness quicker and you get more satisfaction from your food. I'm sure your wife or your husband has spoken to you and they're busy on the phone or they're doing something, they're not truly hearing you and they just don't even remember you said anything. It's the exact same thing with food. And I know this affects me personally because my mom always makes the joke that, Michael, you inhaled your food. And that's my guilty pleasure. But watching TV while eating, what I've learned is that when I slow down, I take in the smells, the textures, the flavors. I feel fuller for longer and I skip needing an extra plate. And it also reduces the frequency of these hyper rewarding foods that you don't have to cut them out completely, but it shows that overly restrictive approaches can also backfire. But the less often you give your brain these ultra processed dopamine hitting foods, the less you're gonna crave it. And over time, it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks, your brain will adapt. That's what we call neuroplasticity. It's your craving shifting, and suddenly a fresh peach or a well-seasoned balanced meal feels so satisfying. Key number 4, circadian eating. I want you to sync your meals with your metabolic clock. Your metabolism runs on a schedule and it's controlled by your circadian clock, your body's internal timer that coordinates sleep, digestion, hormone release, and recovery. And I call it circadian eating. Eating in sync with your natural rhythm so that your body processes food when it's most ready to use it, and also use that energy instead of storing it. And here's why it matters. Your insulin sensitivity, basically how efficiently your body uses carbs for fuel, is highest in the morning and in the early afternoon, and it drops in the evening. As night approaches, your digestion slows down and melatonin rises to prepare you for sleep, but not for breaking down a large dinner. So this was put to test in a 2013 randomized control trial, and it was published in Obesity. Researchers took overweight and obese women and put them all on the same calorie-controlled diet, about 1,400 calories for 12 weeks. The only difference, Group 1 ate 700 calories at breakfast, 500 calories at lunch, and 200 calories at dinner. Group 2 ate 200 calories for breakfast, 500 for lunch, and 700 for dinner. And the results are shocking. The big breakfast group lost 2.5 times more weight on average. They had a greater drop in their waist circumference, and their insulin sensitivity improved significantly. And their triglyceride levels, the blood fats linked to heart disease, dropped by nearly 34%. Meanwhile, the big dinner group saw only small improvements, and in some cases, their triglycerides actually increase. Same calories, same foods, completely different outcomes, purely based on when those calories were eaten. Yes, total calories still matter, but in the context of why most diets fail, timing your food so it matches your body's metabolic clock can be a game changer. Of course, you guys hear me always talk about intermittent fasting, so this is how to apply it. I want you to eat within an 8-hour window, just like fasting. So start at 10 a.m. and finish at 6 p.m. And this works well for many people. And when you eat on a consistent schedule, your body stops guessing and starts running so much more efficiently. Make your earlier meals more sustainable and keep dinner light. And personally, I make lunch my biggest meal. For example, you can have a big grilled chicken wrap that I love, or you can have maybe some quinoa and avocado and roasted veggies for lunch. And it's simple. You can have a veggie soup or maybe even an egg omelet meal with spinach for dinner. If I wait and pile on the calories at dinner, I feel sluggish and it's harder to stop eating and even fall asleep. But let me know, what about you? How do you guys feel when you're eating more in the day and eating less in the evening, or vice versa? And I think the point here is for you guys to give it a go. Try eating most of your calories just like that. Experiment, for a late breakfast or an early lunch and then early dinner, and see how you feel. And this is why I tell most people and all my clients, 3 hours before bed should be the latest when you eat. And when you sync your eating with your body's internal clock, you stop fighting your metabolism and you're starting to work with it. It's another level in this bigger picture, and it's part of aligning your body's systems so that fat loss feels less like a battle and more like a natural result of your body running in harmony. System number 5, build muscle to win the fat loss battle. I call it the fat loss paradox. And this is why I call it the fat loss paradox. You feel like you're losing the battle now, but if you stopped obsessing over fat loss and you just started maybe shifting your mindset to muscle building, you're gonna set yourself up for winning in the long run. And let me explain why. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It burns calories all day and even while you're sleeping. The more lean muscle you have, the more your resting metabolic rate increases, and it becomes without constant restriction. And here's the part that most people never think about. Muscle acts like a sponge. 1 gram of stored glycogen, carbohydrates, pulls in 3 grams of water. That's why muscles look fuller when you're eating enough carbs, and why carbs aren't really the villain that they're made out to be. The issue isn't the carbs, it's not having enough muscle to store them. And there's research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and showed that people with higher muscle mass burn more calories at rest during recovery, and it's not just happening in the gym. It's not just the magic furnace, but it does give you a steady 24/7 metabolic advantage. And here's how to turn the paradox into your advantage. Lift a minimum of 3 times per week with resistance exercise. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding. You can do body weights, you can do dumbbells, you can do resistance bands that work, and they all work. The goal is to challenge your muscles regularly. And if you can, prioritize the compound movements. Squats, push-ups, lunges, rows, these recruit multiple muscle groups at once, giving you the best return on your time investment. I also want you to aim for 1 gram to 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight. If you're in kgs, that's example 70 kgs, you want to eat roughly 110 to 150 grams of protein, and you want to spread that across meals. And stop being so scared of carbs, just use them strategically, right? Carbs are stored in your muscle as glycogen for fuel, and it will help your performance and it will help you recover. The more muscle you have, the more you can store it without it spilling over into fat. And this isn't just about getting big, it's about creating a body that burns fat effortlessly, and not just now, but for the years to come. And when you combine this with all the other systems, you're no longer dieting, you're re-engineering your metabolism for the long term. So that's everything I want you to do. Just start with one of the systems and address them one step at a time, and I promise you'll be in a much better position. Let me know which system you're gonna try. Ask me any questions. I am your coach. I want to help you as much as possible, so I'll reply to as many comments as I can. Leave the video the gentle thumbs up, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, an executive that wants to turn into a business athlete, click the first link in the description to work with me and my team at Sculpt by Science. I am supporting you. I'm always in your corner, and I'll see you in the next video. And by the way, this video is amazing of how to lose your visceral fat in just 3 weeks.